How's it going, guys? So today in the PhantomCave YouTube channel, we're going to be talking about the latest in the episodes of the My Collection series, and I cannot believe we are up to episode 15 in the series, and today on the YouTube channel, we're going to be having a look at the 40th anniversary of the wedding special. And it is 180 pages of absolutely awesomeness. So we'll get into that. It is the anniversary from the 1977 to 2017. And we also have on the channel today, we have The Dead River and plus Phantom by Gaslight episode 4. So let's get into it, folks. Hopefully you enjoy this sort of time of relaying the good times of 2017, and it's got the whole sort of contents in it as well, so that's pretty damn cool. And obviously we've got stories like The Childhood of the Phantom, The Phantom's Boyhood Part 2, The Phantom's Engagement, the number one sort of shortest story in the whole entire history of the Phantom, The Yes by Lee Falk and Seymour Barry. We've got The Proposal by the same duo. We've got Wedding of the Phantom, which is a very famous story. And we have The Heirs, so that's another famous story. The Treehouse, and we have a little sort of glimpse in The Romancing of Diana Palmer by Barry Stubberfield. And I quite like how they've put a little tribute in for Paul Ryan. That's just special. And because it was like back in 2017, we had Paul Ryan had unfortunately passed away the year prior to this publication even being brought to life. So it is quite remarkable how they've just put something in for Paul Ryan to say, let's remember Paul Ryan's legacy and put him in the comic. So the first story we have is The Childhood of the Phantom. It was the 53rd Phantom Sunday story, coming from the 21st of June 1959 to the 3rd of March 1960. And back in those days, back when this childhood story was coming out, we had a very sad thing happen to the Phantom community back in those days. We had Wilson McCoy die in, I think, the 1960s or just before the end of the 1950s or something like that. So basically the Phantom was in a bit of a ruin. They needed to find a Sunday and daily artist. They needed to find the correct artist to match with, obviously, Lee Falk. And they did a lot. They did this quite a lot in those times. And even now you get those sort of glimpses where you can see the different art approaches in the old comics. So yeah, in the 1960s, early 1960s, we had obviously the greatest, probably one of the greats of the comic book history, art associate with the Phantom is Seymour Barry, or as people like to call him, Cy Barry. And I find it too hard calling him by the short way, so I just call it by the Seymour Barry. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then we have The Phantom's Boyhood, a classic Lee Falk story written by Bill Harris and art by Bill Legnate. It comes from the 1964 Gold Key stories and was first published in The Phantom #6. Am I reading that right? Yeah, number 6. This is the first publication by few. First published in Phantom number 6. That must be because of the gold key stories. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, so good that we actually get to reminisce in some good art on this sort of Wednesday afternoon. And by the time this video comes out, it will be nighttime even in where I live. So yeah, it's gonna be good. And also what's happening today is that it's Remembrance Day. So if you're from other countries who sort of don't know what Remembrance Day is, it's basically we basically in Australia we wear like Australian red poppies to commemorate the efforts of World War II, World War One, any sort of world war or war sort of happens. They have this special day to commemorate their efforts and what they have done for their countries. And also in Australia in April, we actually have... we might have a news story here. I'll continue that. We have a news story. I'm guessing it's the next one, I'm guessing. But what I was saying is that back in April, the 25th April, in Australia time, we actually across Australia, we basically commemorate the Anzac diggers and obviously the New Zealand diggers as well as a whole, and we commemorate their war efforts as a whole. And that's sort of like what you see on, say, for one particular event that we commemorate. I know a lot of people might know this, but I'm just going to talk about it. One of the key moments in Australia and New Zealand history is basically, well, it can be World War One, and that is where mateship grew upon us and a lot of other things. But we have a day in April the 25th, which is Anzac Day, and we basically commemorate the war efforts of every person who fought in the war for obviously Australia and New Zealand. So my regards goes out to the past veterans and all the past people that had been in wars. I know my family has been in types of wars, but I don't know much of the history on that. But it's still good to commemorate sort of people who have lost their life for a good cause, or who have been there to help others through need and pain. So yeah, that's just my little spell on Remembrance Day and Anzac Day in what I would call it a very good day. Right now, when I'm doing this review, I actually have a little sort of reddish, pinkish flower on me right now, and I'm going to take it off. And I'm just going to place it here. I'm just going to place it here, just to say that that's what we mean, and that it's a good time right now to commemorate people who have gone to wars and who have served their country, basically. So yeah, it's good. So we now have the wedding of the Phantom. Now the Phantom wedding actually was 104th Phantom Sunday story. It went from the 30th of October 1977 to the 5th February 1978. and it was first published in number 972, I think that says. Yeah. So yeah, so basically all these stories are great. They're great, and in a short period of time, we've developed as a whole, as Australians, with their phantom knowledge, we've invented a lot of things in history, and a lot of things in history also mean a lot to phantom creators. So, we have had the wedding of the phantom, it's all been done, and have I spoken too close? Have I spoken too early? Have I? Or maybe not. So, we've had the wedding of the phantom. We've had all that. What comes next? Well, there's the treehouse. And the treehouse is basically where Diana and the kids of the phantom actually stay when they're in the jungle, or when they're like places. And a lot when we are actually looking through this book, we actually see little snippets and a little bit of history from Barry Stubberfield, who is, of course, the Phantom's historian, basically. And, yep, see, they're collected there forever. They're collected there forever, and you can read them anytime off you. I think they also have that in on their digital sort of thing. So now we have the Dead River, and last year I got this signed by Antonio Lemos, one of my absolute favourite artists. I've said that many times today. In this career as a YouTuber, I've said that many times. And we also have Phantom of Gaslight episode 4. And basically Dead River is a story where there's water sort of getting polluted in tribes. Phantom gets into it, and then the Phantom finds out that they're actually smuggling guns into the Bengala. Phantom does his business and basically gets into the premises, and he obviously takes down the polluted river, takes down the guys that had polluted it, and the tribemen get their own sort of tribe somewhere in a valley, and obviously they win. And so we have the 4th episode in the best sort of series that had been running from the 2017 to 2019, and that was the Phantom of Gaslight. We have art by Jason Paulos, and I think the story is written by Christopher Seguera. So great art by Jason Paulos. Great art by Jason Paulos. I'll say that many times in this YouTube channel, and yeah, it's so good. But look at how he composes the last page. So good. You get to meet the villains that are behind all these terrorist attacks and Victorian attacks. And then we have a ad for the first ever trade paperback that the Phantom, the Few Crew people have done. You can get that available from bookstores and direct from the phantomcomic.com.au for $25, I think it is. $24.95, but I'll have to check that at the website when in the editing. But yeah, if you would like to subscribe to the Phantom Cave YouTube channel, go ahead, subscribe down below in the button down below, and you will receive the latest, the best insightful content on the planet from the Phantom fanatic called PhantomCave. And we'll see you later, and keep on PhantomCavey. See yous.